You're not hearing now? Oh, because I'm not getting anything. What are the things that everybody really wants to know more about? So is there particular so on that training survey, please be honest and let us know what exactly it is that you would like us to do, because we work a lot with these resources, so our knowledge might be a little different, and we might have a lot of context for the different ones or different ones that are available. So it really will be helpful for people to let us know what your customers are really interested in and what you are also interested in. Okay.
I think so. Those of you listening, if you are only on the telephone, we will be emailing out a copy of the presentation so you can see the slideshow in addition to having the audio. Those of you listening online, please remember to mute your microphones on your computers. And I will just reiterate some of the things that Hillary was telling the folks here in-house. This is worth 2 hours of continuing education, and we will be sending out questions for those of you online listening remotely, so you'll have to answer the question to get your 2 hours of continuing education, your certificates. And there will also be a survey. Please fill out the survey so that the Digital Resource Committee knows how you feel about our presentation today and what other information you would like to learn. Let's see. Let me make sure we got all our housekeeping. Was that everything that you said while I was finishing up over here?
Everybody here has signed in, and everybody has the handouts that we have available for everybody.
We do have some handouts available in person, and those will be emailed out as well with the presentation as PDFs. So we are going to go ahead and get started. Today's session is a basic overview of the electronic resources and databases, so downloadables and databases. These are available throughout the county. Today's tutorial will explain how to access, search, and promote e-resources to library patrons. It's designed as a first step in learning about these resources, and more detailed sessions will be following based on the feedback that you give us. The format today is going to start with databases and move on to the downloadables. Maybe we can get our PowerPoint to work. When we talk about countywide e-resources, we're referring to resources that are not freely available on the internet through search engines like Google. These resources are currently part of a larger collection known as databases. Generally, libraries maintain 3 different types of e-resources, and our library system is included in this. Articles, which are similar to articles in newspapers and magazines. We have lessons like those from traditional classrooms.
I'm not recording me sound in. I'm getting the actual.
And we have downloadables, which maximize mobile devices and apps.
It did like that, but then they didn't let me.
To access ACLA's databases, you go ahead to erec.einetwork.net. And as you can see, we're going to do a quick demo here, so hopefully we can get out of our PowerPoint and into the demo without too much.
Yeah, it did that, and it came up with the logo saying it was starting.
I can hear some folks in the background too, so a reminder, please go ahead and mute your phones. As you can see from our database list, we do have an A to Z list. We also have a subject-based list over on the left side. I am challenged sometimes. That's the left side of the screen. If you go ahead and look at our subject databases, you get quite a bit of information. The world is free resources. Those are only available on the subject list. So those are freely recommended websites. We just added Job Gateway here to our job and career subject guide. The database committee is always adding new databases, free databases, and we are always updating and reviewing the paid databases. The other important thing you learn from this list is some of the funding information. So frequently our patrons will ask, how do I know what the library is purchasing? Well, if they have the little library card, these resources are funded by your local library. So our patrons can find out information about each of our databases from the database list. Additionally, you see remote access is an option for most of our electronic resources. Things like Ancestry are clearly marked as in-library use only. You will need to be in a library, and our patrons need to be in a library to use them. Again, these are county-wide resources. There are 3 different kinds of access, primarily remote access, where patrons will need their library card. That would be up in this first slide here. PIN required, those are things like Freegal, where you do need to use your library card and your PIN number, and things like Mango that are lesson-based. Hillary will talk about those. Those are resources where you need to create a new an account specific to your needs. We're going to do some demos, so get out of there. The first database we are going to demo today is Masterfile Premier. Hope I don't make people sick scrolling, I'm sorry. Again, it has remote access, full text to over 2,200 periodicals. Masterfile is an excellent general reference index, and it is a great place to start research. Those of you listening or here today who are in circulation, this is a great resource. If you have patrons saying they couldn't find anything at all and you don't have a reference librarian available, please refer patrons to Masterfile. Again, a wonderful place to start. So today we're going to search coffee production. As you can see from the screen, lots of information. You have over 1,000 articles with coffee production as keywords. You can limit searches on the left side of the screen. Full text, peer-reviewed, image, by dates, the source type, specific subject, publication, and language. So we're going to look at these on a fairly basic level in terms of full text. As you can see, that gets down to 776. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Firefox, for remembering that. 776 articles. We can also see PDFs. When you get into a longer PDF, you sort by page numbers, go down. Or you can break my computer like I just did. Something I find really interesting about Masterfile are the Associated Press videos. So you can watch the video, you have the text that goes along with the video. Right next to it, you can email, print the text, or save these this article. I just want to check my chat box real quick. Okay. Sorry. This little thing is in my way.
But yes,
You can also add databases to master files. So if I want to look at green file as well, I'm interested in the production in terms of ecological aspects. Again, you can always see which databases you're searching. Limit by full text. You still see your Associated Press videos. Perhaps you're only interested in academic journals. It's a fairly easy, user-friendly interface. Do I have any questions about master file or green file? Any of these databases are all connected. Anybody on the committee want to add anything about these ones? These are very basic databases. Okay. Oops. I lost my link. The next database is opposing viewpoints that I want to talk about. Can I see a show of hands in the room who uses opposing viewpoints on a regular basis? How many? I know we have at least one children's librarian. Are the other folks children? Do we have other children's librarians here? No. Sue, why do you use opposing viewpoints? So those of you listening online, what she said is because they get middle school and high school students in and they need information pro and con, and that is exactly what opposing viewpoints and context does. Does anybody particularly love opposing viewpoints or particularly hate opposing viewpoints? Sue, our children's librarian loves it. Why do you love it? Just because it has? Because she can find what they're looking for. Other particularly loves or hates? Yeah. Right. I'm sorry, what's your name? Jess said that it is more current than a lot of the books that we have. Do you find that it's more current than master file? It is updated fairly frequently, and sometimes the embargoes on master file are longer than those in opposing viewpoints. So I think that's a very valuable aspect of this particular database is that it's updated very frequently, and it's a Gale database, so you know they're always using primary source materials. Not that master file doesn't, but master file, when you see 1,700 hits, it's because they're doing a book review and the book, and it's actually the same resource that they're talking about. Whereas opposing viewpoints is more primary source, so you're going to expect fewer hits in general. So that's something important to keep in mind with opposing viewpoints. Let's go ahead and do, opposing viewpoints is a really rich database for many, many ways. It includes, I'm going to read real quick from my notes. It incorporates both sides of the issues as we've covered. It incorporates news and multimedia, and I showed you that multimedia from master file. You can pretty much, the best you can get from master file usually is an AP press video in terms of multimedia. Opposing viewpoints has NPR and several other news media sources in multimedia formats. So if you're looking for multimedia, if you have children or students who have learning differences, this is a really good database for them because you can see transcripts and video, and we'll look at that in a little bit. Opposing viewpoints also offers curriculum support. So we'll look at those links in a minute in terms of curriculum support for those educators out there. Again, anyone working with, I think, middle school and high school students really should explore opposing viewpoints and context. It's a wonderful resource for that. So let's go ahead and start real basic with the curriculum standards. And they like your feedback, just like us here on EREC. So you can see the curriculum standards for different countries, the national standards, and state standards. So we are in Pennsylvania. You can see the Pennsylvania standards for science, technology, engineering, environment, and ecology for high school and middle school, and again, the same for history, geography, economics, and civics for high school and middle school. I am not a teacher, so I can say they start to lose me around this level, but those of you who are in education or in children's librarianship. So they have activities based on the subject areas. So you can explain how limited resources and unlimited wants cause scarcity, and some of the resource or some of the links that they have are shortages. So you can go to these subject level pages and build curriculum and activities based on that. So it's a very interesting resource, and this is the only database that I know that has anything like it. So if we go back to my coffee production, you can see a real simple search for opposing viewpoints. They still sort all of the materials. So you've got your references, you've got magazines, audio. They do this really nice sort of digest version on the left side if you don't want to scroll down. And you only want to see a specific aspect of it. And the little icons, I'm sorry, I always forget what they mean. So the content level for the red triangle is advanced in the Lexile measure. Again, an excellent resource for those of you in children's librarianship or YA. So if I want to see all the audio files associated with coffee, again, NPR is a wonderful resource, and most of their content is going in Gail's opposing viewpoints when it's appropriate. You can listen to the resource, and you can see the entire script. Our students who are doing research, again, citation tools, you can choose your citation style and export it appropriately. Print save. Absolutely. Did you have a specific question, or you just want me to review it? Review it? Okay. So you can choose your citation style. Again, MLA is still running on both 7th and 8th editions. I don't know if students, do kids know if they want a 7th or 8th edition MLA? She hasn't had that level of specificity. I don't know if the students even know the difference between them, so just give them the most up-to-date, right? You can export, I assume some high schools have access to EasyBib or RefWorks. If not, I know our students are definitely using Google Drive and OneDrive. So we can go ahead. I don't actually have one up right now. So we'll see what happens if I don't have it open. It's going to ask me to go ahead and sign in, and it'll export it to my email or to my OneDrive. Or you can just download that, save it. Or they can simply copy and paste it into their assignment. So really nice. And of course, they do have the disclaimer, as we all know, we can't guarantee anything. Make sure you check the manual. How that goes. Are there any specific questions about the citation manager? I'll pop open my chat window. All right. Back to Browse issues. Again, I can see why this is really useful in classrooms. If you have contact with any middle school or high school teachers, direct them to some of our browsable pages. You can see when topics are updated. We click on a subject browsable page. These are subject level pages. So Gale builds these pages specific to that subject area. Again, they have the digest version on the right side of the screen, some real basic overview information about the topic. Listen and read. Wonderful research for our students. You get a breakdown of the statistics featured. All of these topics have their articles and related topics. I'm going to talk for a minute about statistics. Opposing Viewpoints does a great job with statistics. You can download this article. This one is just a chart. We're going to look in a minute at some of the maps that they have based on statistics. And they're very colorful, excellent to use. And I believe almost all of them are available for reproduction in academic papers. You would have to double check that to see this is like the national security, so they're using government statistics that our students would be able to reproduce in papers without worrying about copyright issues, because I know all our high school students are worried about copyright issues. Again, the source is available, citation information. Go back to the top of the page for a moment. And look at some of the videos. There are 22 videos on Iran in Opposing Viewpoints right now. And you can see the source is automatically cited. If students know they cannot use New York Times for whatever reason, it's easy to skip that. They can save articles in the folder. And one thing to note, whenever students log in, you can create a login and customize it, but it will erase everything whenever you end that session. So you really need to, I don't suggest it. I think it's better to email articles to yourself than to try to use their folders. That they don't do very well. It's one thing they don't do very well. Again, from this top navigation where you saw curriculum standards and browsing issues, they have maps. These are really interesting. I think they're really interesting. The navigation on the maps is a little bit tricky because you do need to browse horizontally, alphabetically. So that's not the best. So, of course, I'm going to use something at the A's. So we look at addiction and the maps they have for addiction. So you see the percentage of people needing but not receiving treatment from illicit drug use in the past year by age group, and that's from 2008 to 2009. You can break it up into age groups. You can download that image as a PDF, a PNG, JPEG. I have never personally used an SVG vector image, but maybe you've got some really smart high school students who really want to. And you can download the data as a Excel as a CSV. So really interesting if you've got some students doing work. If you click on the More on Addiction, it's going to take you to those browsable topic level pages. With related topics. And interestingly, body piercing and tattooing is included as a related topic for addiction. I find that interesting. Questions about opposing viewpoints. definitely get in there and play around with it. It's a great resource. I just want to check the chat. Nope. Okay. Let me see if I kicked my, oh, I sure did. Everybody loved Northland's page. There it is. I have one more database I'm going to demo, and this is a database that we recently updated here through eRec. That is Novelist Plus. Novelist, of course, has the adult version, and Novelist K through 8, which is the children's version. I'm an adult services librarian, so I feel much safer in Novelist Plus for adults. To give folks an update, if you did not read your EIN libs, which I'm afraid many people don't read their EIN libs, we recently updated Novelist to Novelist Plus, and that includes audiobooks and nonfiction for book reviews and book recommendations. Novelist is an excellent resource for patrons at their point of need in terms of reader's advisory. It is a powerful tool for book discussion groups, for educators, or for parents who are looking to find reading lists for their children. Either the children is happy about that, the children are happy, or they're not happy. So that's a good resource. And again, ours reviews fiction, nonfiction, and audiobooks. And we'll look in a minute at the audio. You can hear some samples of audiobooks through Plus. Okay, so we're going to do a sample search for the Hunger Games to look at one of the newer features. Our updated Novelist includes all of these tabs at the top. Audiobooks, audiobook sample. I just muted my sound. Let me see. I don't know if I can get it. Nah, there it is.
Cold. My fingers stretch out, keeping trees warm, finding only the left canvas cover of the napkin. Who had that dream to climb in with my mother? Of course she did. This is the day of the weekend. I got myself up.
Okay. Anyone who listens to audiobooks know there's nothing worse than having a horrible audiobook reader. So that's always a nice feature. It's also a great feature whenever you've got some ESL folks who are interested in audiobooks. They might be slightly apprehensive and not interested. So if you give them that little snippet and they can understand, they feel a lot more confident about that experience. So audiobooks are great. Again, you can go series into series read-alikes. This is not a new feature of Novelist Plus, but just a reminder, and I'm going to move that little guy over there for the moment. So again, read-alikes to the Hunger Game trilogy, and you can see other titles of interest that Novelist says are of interest and why. Okay. I like this because it does come up as a separate page, so you can go ahead and print it, and then the patron has it. And you have some of those OCD patrons who check mark everything. I do that, so that's nice. We're going to go ahead and browse by genre. Or actually, I'm going to change mine. I'm going to browse by appeal. And I can make my own appeal mix. For a teen, I want to say they're really interested in awkward characters, and maybe they want an amusing book. View all, or scroll horizontally again. Of course, it's a teenager, so maybe they're contrary, and they're going to say, I've already read that, right? I've already read that. So again, you can do read-alikes by title, by author, or this is a particular series, so you can see that series read-alike. An advanced search in Novelist is, let me go ahead and clear. The other thing, as I clear that out, what I really like about Novelist is frequently when you go from browsable to advanced search, you lose that original search. You do keep it in Novelist. So for better or for worse, just keep that in mind. You can do a basic audience search in a real general format in the advanced search, but you can also do a fairly advanced search based on Lexile level and by AR. Again, all of our children's librarians, I'm sure at this point in the academic year, are very familiar with their accelerated reader tests, and the students are panicked, and they're like, oh my goodness, I need to get my accelerated readers in. You can just search by accelerated reader level and then limit after that. So the student really loves fiction, and they're not interested in things from 1818, so maybe we'll move it up a bit. And they want a mischievous character. Those are automatically applying the limiters every time you set them. And you can see Pinocchio, which I find is an interesting accelerated reader. You get the Lexile level immediately, accelerated readers. You can check the library's catalog to see if we have it. Uh-oh, our Northland copy's checked out. But again, there's another edition available. Okay. Let me make sure I covered everything. Oh, one more thing I wanted to cover in Novelist are the quick links. I had mentioned at the beginning book discussions and book discussion guides. Those of you interested, or those of you who have patrons who come in and are interested in book discussion groups, these are some wonderful lists of books that are good for book discussion. And they have a book discussion guide, which is even better. Gives you a summary of the material. You can set the patrons free. They can choose their own titles. You don't have to sit with them and sift through hundreds and hundreds of titles. So that is under quick links. Author read-alikes are fairly straightforward. Books to movies, those are guides for librarians in general. Common Core, great guides for school librarians. There are video tutorials on using the Common Core. Curricular Connections, grab and go book list. I love to give these to parents. Gives you the grade levels and the subject areas. Dystopian fiction for 7th graders in Canada. I don't know why the Canadians are any different than the Americans, but apparently that's a thing. And you can see some grab and go book lists. Do it by author, title, change the display, and print it out. Does anyone have questions about Novelist? No. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. I think I am pretty much done, and then I'm going to turn this over to Hillary. Let me make sure I actually covered. So quick review, the 3 different databases that we looked at today, Masterfile, Premier, which is a fairly general EBSCO database. The interface for that, along with all the other EBSCO databases, is going to be very similar, and you can search across multiple databases, so it's a great place to start in terms of reference. It has basic and advanced level searches and is full text. Opposing viewpoints and context, I have heard of this database for years. It's full text, searchable, and browsable, covers both sides of issues, has tons of multimedia, and is great for our learning difference students. The features, which are the subject pages and the curriculum standards, are wonderful. And the last one is Novelist Plus and Novelist K-8. I demoed Novelist Plus, Novelist K-8. As you saw, we saw a lot of children's material. Those are connected, so if you search one, it doesn't limit the other. Again, for Reader's Advisory, browsable. The advanced search is very powerful because it can go down to the Lexile level and the grade level. You can, through Novelist Plus, search fiction, nonfiction, and audiobooks. Any questions about databases at this moment? Make sure that you bookmark the EREC database page. Hopefully all of your libraries are linking to it. That is the most up-to-date list of electronic databases that we have. And Hillary, did you mention the virtual lexicon earlier? Okay, I'll give a quick plug for the virtual lexicon, which is virtuallexicon.wordpress.com. That is a blog site that will have the handouts that we have today. It will have the recordings from our presentation today, and that's where you learn about a lot of our new resources. So if you decide you're never going to read your EIN libs, then you should definitely subscribe to the virtual lexicon. Okay, thanks. I'll be available for questions after. Yes, virtuallexicon.wordpress.com. You're welcome.
So transition to the downloadables, but if anybody needs to take a quick break, I think that would be a good time. All right.
Okay. All right, so again, I'm Hillary, and I am the e-resources coordinator for the Carnegie Library Pittsburgh. Oh, okay. How do I double check?
Mm-hmm. Click right there.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to be talking about the downloadable and streaming resources that we offer to all of our customers. In Allegheny County, we have access to many streaming and downloadable e-resources. Downloadable and streaming e-resources are digital content that you can read, listen to, or watch on your own computer or handheld device, so either a tablet or a smartphone. Okay. No. Okay. All right. Okay, so this is, as we have for the database side of the website, we also have an e-resources side. And you can, they are linked, so if you're on the database side, you can get to the downloadable side and vice versa. We will be doing some modifications of both of these sites this year. The Digital Resources Committee is going to look at these and make sure that we have common language across both of the sites and that it's easy to get from one to the other. As Alexa said before, please make sure that your library has a fairly visible link to these pages, because this is how your customers are going to be able to get into the databases and the downloadable pages. Some libraries link to specific databases from their website or specific downloadables from their website, but for ease, it's easier to have these databases, these links right from your website. So if you don't have them easily on your web page and you are the person who manages your website, please add them. And if you're not the person that manages your website, talk to that person and strongly suggest that these links be very visible for your customers. And if you have any questions about that, and at any time, you can email me or email Alexis about the database side too. So if you have any questions or concerns about how to get these website links up or where you should be putting them, just let us know. That actually wasn't in my presentation, so thought I'd do a little plug there. Okay, so the next slide here is about ebooks. And ebooks are some of our most popular e-resources. In 2016, we circulated almost 850,000 ebooks on Overdrive alone. So that's not including any of the other resources. But Overdrive is probably one of our most prominent resources. Is everybody here familiar with Overdrive? Okay. All right. So ebooks are electronic versions of printed books that can be read on a computer or a handheld device. So again, either a tablet or a smartphone. We currently offer 3 platforms for accessing ebooks. Overdrive, ebooks on EBSCOhost, which their interface is identical no matter which of the platforms you're on. So so their ebooks platform is the same as their master file. So if you're comfortable with one or the other, then it's easy to search and to look for information on either of those, in either of those sites. And also Hoopla. Okay. Oh, that's okay. All right, so we're going to spend a little time in Overdrive. Okay, so Overdrive customers use their library card barcode and an email address to create an account. Children 13 and under don't need to enter an email address. They can just use their library card number. Books can be searched from either the Overdrive website, the Overdrive app, or from our own catalog. So this is the front page for Overdrive. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it. These curated collections are collections that we put up, and we base them on themes or on different formats, information that we think our customers might be interested in. We have found that pretty much anything we put up in these curated collections circulates, and it's really kind of amazing. But we can do different types of curated collections, and we try to rotate these fairly regularly. And I have it set up that you can see all of the titles, but it'll show you the available ones first. So as you can see here, Celebrate Women's History Month, there isn't anything available. So I'm going to go back today and I'm going to make sure I add some more books into this collection, because it's obviously a collection that customers are interested in that they're taking from, which is really great. But as you can see, everything is on the wait list. So that's, the good and the bad, right? Okay, so when you're on the website, the search is not super prominent. It's this little magnifying glass or the word search, and you actually have to click on one of those in order to open up the search box, which I find a little annoying, but we'll deal with it. Okay, so you can start your, and as you can see, it does auto-populate, which is a new thing. In November of last year, Overdrive redid their website, and so they have some changes and some modifications, and having the auto-populate in the search is one of the new things that they were able to produce, which is really nice because it does give you some instant search results without actually going into your search. Okay, so you click on the title and you're given a thumbprint. And from this thumbprint, you can see that the book is available. You can see the title, The Heart of the Lonely Hunter. You can see that it's by Carson McCullers. You can see that it's an ebook, and you can see the borrow icon. You also see this little tab here. That's for your wait list. And then these 3 ellipses will show you to read a sample, view details, and you may also likes. So from this point, you can pretty much make all your decisions and all of your actions from here. But if you actually click on the thumbprint, it does open it up into a larger view, and this view does have obviously more information. You can see that we have 3 copies of this book, and there are 2 available. You can read your sample. You have a much more involved description of the book, as well as some details, which will give you details about the Overdrive aspect of it, not the print aspect of it. So you can see that the Kindle book was released in 2011, Overdrive Read, same time. Okay.
Hi.
So now if we wanted to borrow this book, you can simply click on the word borrow, and it's going to ask me to sign in. So there are two ways to sign in. You can sign in with just your library card, which is a nice way, or if you have created an Overdrive account, you can put that email address here. But I always just use my library card number. Oh my gosh. 1, 2. Yeah. And this isn't actually my library card number, so I don't have it memorized. But okay, there we go. All right. Okay. So you can see that this title is now checked out to me and when it is due. Okay. Once you've borrowed something, you can see where it is. You can see it from your account in the loan section. And you can also see it from your bookshelf, which is those 3 little books. Okay. From this page, you can see when it expires. It'll expire in 21 days. And this is where you can choose how you want to read the item. So you can either read it in your browser, so it'll just open it up right on your internet browser, or you can download it. So you can download it as a Kindle book or as an EPUB book. If you download it as a Kindle book, you obviously have to have a Kindle account with Amazon. And that should work fine. We have been running into some troubles with Kindle books, but it should work out fine. So your customers would just click on whichever way they would want to download it. Okay, I'm not going to actually download it right now. Okay. So if you download it as an EPUB, you will be downloading it to the Overdrive app. So I'll just talk for a few minutes about the Overdrive app. The Overdrive app is available free, and you can find it on your mobile device's store. So either Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. You can also find it on Amazon. They have a lot of apps now. And you can also just do a search in your internet browser. So you could just open up Google Chrome and say Overdrive app, and it'll show it to you. And then you can install it on your device. Now, Overdrive, you should be able to have it downloaded on multiple platforms. So you should be able to have it on your mobile device and on your tablet, and they should be connected. So if you are reading something on your phone and then you get home and then you want to read it on your tablet, you should be able to open it up on your tablet and continue from where you are. Continue from where you were. Sorry. So that is a nice thing about Overdrive, is that you can have it in multiple locations, and you can also read it on your browser. So you can take it with you pretty much anywhere you go. When you open up your app for the first time, you'll be prompted to add your library card number, and you'll be prompted to choose a managing library. And the managing library, it would be, if you're, and all of us, we would go under the Allegheny County Library Association Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh account. And you can have, just for your information, for your customers' information, you can have multiple libraries through your account. So if you have a customer that spends half of the year in Florida and half of the year here in Pittsburgh, they use their library in Florida, and that library has Overdrive, they can have both of those libraries on their app at the same time, and they can get items from both of those. The assumption, the hope, is that when they're in Florida, they use the Florida library, and when they're in Pittsburgh, they're using the Pittsburgh library. But we can't track that. So the fact that Overdrive allows multiple libraries at the same time, that's what it is. So I have the Ohio Digital Library on mine as well, just because I like to see what they're doing in Ohio, because that's where Overdrive is from. So they have a lot of things that they pilot through the Ohio library. So I have both of those on. I don't check anything else. I don't have a library card from Ohio, but I do have it on my account for both of those libraries. And my mom lives in Ohio, so I like to see if I can get something for her for Overdrive for her account. So there's lots of things you could do with it. So when you're in the app, you can add books. You don't have to some of our platforms, you can't actually add content in the app, but Overdrive you can. So you would go to add a title, which isn't super intuitive, but it's a little box and a little plus, and it says add a title. So you can actually add things to your app directly. You don't have to go through the website. Any questions or comments about the app?
I found with the Overdrive app that if, say, I download an EPUB book onto the app on my phone, it won't let me download it on the app on my iPad. It says this is already on this device, and it won't, like, if I download it as a Kindle book and then read it through the Kindle app, it'll let me use multiple devices, but using EPUB through the Overdrive app doesn't allow multiple devices.
It's supposed to, and it's prickly. It can be very prickly at times. But it is supposed, you are supposed to be able to use it across multiple platforms. And on their site, they do have a share feedback. And so I strongly encourage, I share my feedback with Overdrive all the time. So I strongly encourage you and also encourage your customers to share that kind of feedback, that, you know, the expectation is that we can read these over multiple devices and I'm not able to, or, you know, is there something that I'm missing or that I should be doing? So please make sure you share your feedback with Overdrive. And if you don't want to do the form, you can just let me know and I'll happily share my feedback with Overdrive, because I think it is important that we let them know what's working and what's not working, because, you know, we are paying for this service and it's not cheap, so we want to make sure that we're getting what we expect out of it. Any other questions about the app? Oh, questions on the chat. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting about the chat. Nope, nothing.
Under original search,
Mm-hmm.
is there an author search?
There is. You have to do,
So it's actually on what?
so you actually have to click the word search or the little magnifying glass, and then if you see down here, there's advanced search. And from here, you can be much more specific. You can look for title, author, subjects, all of that, which we'll get to in a minute, but the advanced search is kind of hidden. So again, feedback. Let's share that feedback with them. Okay, so on Overdrive, you can have 20 items checked out at a time. You can have 15 items on hold, and you can have 5,000 items in your wish list, which is a crazy number to me. I had to read that a couple times. I was like, 5,000 in my wish. I don't even know. Well, we do have 5,000, but that was just kind of an amazing thing to me. Okay, so we're going to place a hold. And again, it's auto-populated for me. Okay, so unless I tell it what kind of format I want, it's going to show me both. It's going to show me the ebook and the audiobook. And you can see that our thumbprint is exactly the same as when it's available, except for it now is showing white as waitlist. And instead of saying borrow, it's saying you can place a hold. Okay, at this point, you can just open it up like you did before. And I like to open it up because I think it gives you a lot more information. It tells me that there are 86 copies and none of them are available. It shows me that there are 4 people waiting per copy. And now this is a little tricky because your customer might see it and say, oh, I'm 4th in line. But they're not really 4th in line. If you place a hold on this title, there will be at most 4 people ahead of you in line. So there are 340 holds on these 86 copies. Unfortunately, Overdrive doesn't have simultaneous use, so you do have to place holds and you do have to wait for a lot of stuff. And we have very strict holds ratios that we maintain. So every week we look at the holds ratios on these items that have a lot of holds, and we purchase additional copies to maintain a hold. I think for ebooks it's 4 to 1, and I think for audiobooks it's 5 to 1. But don't beyond that. So we do pay a very close attention to the holds, because we do know that if customers are waiting, and if they're waiting too long, then that's not right. That's not good customer service. And I think, and again, please don't quote me on this, but I think the average wait for something that has a lot of holds is 20 days. which isn't great, but not too bad. So from here, I can go ahead and just place my hold. Okay, success.
Can you go to that advantage hold?
Sure.
People how to turn off that check out.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
You mean to check out? Automatic checkout.
When available.
Okay. Okay. So you have in your, under my account, there's an option for settings, and it's also on the LHS on the left-hand side, settings right there too. And here is where you can either set your lending period. Everything has kind of a, they're not all 21 days, and I'm not sure why this isn't showing up. But this one's 21 days, this one's 21 days, and I think this is 7. So it's 7, 14, 21, 7, 14, 21, or 3 and 7, I think. So you can modify your default lending periods, which I'm not sure how helpful this is for anybody really. I mean, I guess, I don't know, I'm sure there's reasons why they have it, but if you check out something and you know there's a lot of people waiting for it, you give yourself 7 days to read it. That's very gracious. That's very gracious. I'm not sure exactly if that's what they had in mind when they have the limits, but it's something you could change from here. And what Alexis was just talking about is this automatic auto checkout. By default, it's set up so that if you have a book on hold and it becomes available, it is automatically going to be checked out to you. You will get an email saying, hey, this item has been checked out to you. But if you miss that email or if it goes into a spam or a deleted folder or something, you won't get it. And that book will then be checked out to you. So a lot of customers, I think, find that annoying because they look and they see, oh my gosh, I've had this book for 3 days, I didn't even know it. And I only have 7 more days to read it or whatever it is. So at this point on the settings tab, this is where you can change that. So you can say, I don't want to have automatic hold checkout. So what would happen then is a customer, when the book became available for them, they would get an email saying, hey, this book is available. You'll need to go to your account to check it out. So that's something that I think a lot of customers find either good or bad.
That's automatically turned on.
It's automatically turned on. So you do have to go in and manually change it. The default is to automatically check it out to you. And I think that's because we need these books to move. So that's why it's automatically checked out. You can also adjust your content preferences here. You can modify it if you have young children and you want them to be able to use this. You can say you only want them to see juvenile titles when you're searching, or if you have all audiences, or if you want to just see the mature content, which there is quite a bit there. So I'm going to blush. Was there a question?
I just asked if you could select one.
If you do all audiences, it will do all of them. I don't think you can do like young adult. And, oh, you can. Oh, you can. That's nice. So you could do for children and teens. And then they have a few display options, high contrast, which is good. And then they also have a dyslexic font. So these are great to be able to share with customers if they haven't taken the time to look at the settings, which, everybody's got lots of time to look at settings for sure. Okay, so we did go ahead and add that to our Hillbilly Elegy, to our holds list. What?
Oh, you have your...
Oh, I have it. I have the settings. Oh my gosh. So we know that that works. Okay, I'm going to do all audiences again. Okay. Okay, and I did talk about those 5,000 items that you can put in your wish list, and you can do that from the thumbprint, which is just this little tabby here, or if you go into the main page of it, you can see add to wish list right here. And then you can see your wish list from your My Accounts. You can see that it's in my wish list, but it's also on hold to me. I'm going to remove myself from that hold because there's a lot of people waiting for that book. Okay. Any questions about any of that so far?
And do you have 7 days to download it? Just thinking about you have 7 days. Once you get the email.
That is a very good question. I actually don't know. I was going to say, yeah, it's 3 days. So once you get that email notification, you have 3 days to download it. So that's probably another reason why they're giving you just 3 days. So they're giving you 3 days or automatic. So you don't have, they don't want these books just sitting around, which, you know, I can respect that. Any other questions about any of this so far? Okay. So one of the last things that I wanted to talk about for Overdrive is the recommend to library. Keep mocking away from the mic. So recommend to library is when customers are on Overdrive and they see that there is a book that we don't own. So we haven't purchased it, but Overdrive offers it. So at that point, they can't check it out, they can't put it on hold, but they can recommend it to the library. And what that means is that every week, the downloadables committee gets 2 carts from Overdrive. One is a cart of ebooks and one is a cart of audiobooks. And they are all items that customers have recommended that we purchase that week. In November, when they redid their website, they made it a lot easier for customers to see titles that we didn't own. And that's great, but it also has significantly increased the number of recommend to libraries that we've been getting. In October of 2016, we would have 200 to 300 a week, and this past, I guess it was early February, we checked, and we were getting over 800. So, so we had to modify the number of RTLs and recommend to library RTLs. We had to modify the number of RTLs that customers could do in a week. It was originally set that they could do 3 RTLs in 7 days. So we modified it to 2 RTLs in 7 days, which is still a significant number. That's still 8 titles a month that they can recommend that we purchase. And when we look at those carts, we look at each recommendation kind of individually. And so that takes a lot of staff time, and it's a lot. So we're watching it now. So since we've changed it once, we're actually going to look at it again in a few months and see if we might need to modify it again to kind of limit that a little bit. So Overdrive, what they'll do, and I mean, it's fantastic, but if you're looking for something and it'll say, hey, we don't have that one, but we have these books that are similar, and it'll give you a whole list of them, or that book is on hold, here's a bunch that are similar. Or if you look at something that's part of a series, it'll say, hey, we see that your library doesn't have numbers 2, 4, and 7 of this series. So it's great because it does expand our collection in ways that we do want, we do want our customers to feel like we're getting things that they want, but at the same time it's kind of a double-edged sword. So we have modified that number, and we made that change, I think, a couple weeks ago, and I sent an email to the EN Lives. Anybody get that? And I did not hear any complaints from customers. So I'm not sure if you did or if it just kind of went over. You can't see how many RTLs you're allowed to have. So customers don't know that they had 3, but now they've got 2. But we think that there are definitely some savvy users that would recognize right away that, hey, I was allowed to do 3 last week and I can't do 2. So we weren't sure if there was going to be any kind of feedback from anybody, but I didn't hear of any, so I'm assuming that, we'll let that go. So let me just show you really quickly what happens when they search for something. Okay, so I would put in Whirligig, and it will show me, first of all, if we have anything that kind of fits within that title or in that category. And then if I scroll down, it'll say didn't find what you're looking for. You can add titles that aren't in the collection. And I think that's a little misdirecting because it's not, they can recommend that we purchase it, but obviously we can't purchase everything that's recommended. So that's something that I've suggested to Overdrive. They might want to modify the wording on that because we wouldn't want our customers to assume that because they've recommended it, it's automatically going to be purchased. But if they do recommend it, so you can see here, we didn't find it. So if they do recommend it, they can say that they would like to be put on the wait list for it. And if we buy it, that they'll be put on the wait list for it, or that they can be emailed once if it's purchased. So if we do decide to get it, they will know. But if we don't decide to get it, they just don't hear from us. Any questions about, I'm sorry.
Saying the list of like things that they recommend.
Yeah, it does. So in your My Account recommendations, it'll say right there. So they can keep track of it. They can see what they have recommended, and they can see if, and actually I don't know if it has the date for when you recommended it.
What's the difference average term, or if you are going to purchase it, how quickly would you purchase it, and what's the data question?
So today is Monday, so when I get back to the library, I'll have 2 carts that I'll need to sort out to everybody. So we usually like to have about a week turnover, because every Monday we get carts. So we do try to keep up on those. So we make our selections, we make our determinations, and then I send them to our acquisition librarian, and she's the one who actually puts the orders in. So I would say, to be safe, you would be about 2 to 3 weeks before, if we purchase something. So if somebody RTL'd it today, I would say that if we decide to purchase it, it would be about 2 to 3 weeks out that it would be on the website, just because it does take time for us for about a week, and then it takes about a week for the acquisition librarian to get all the orders in. And it's pretty instantaneous. Once they get the order, there's not a lot. I mean, it's digital, so everything. You guys get this one now. So it's pretty fast once the order actually goes in. Any other questions while I test this out right now?
So you're searching right now through Overdrive.
Right.
But if you were searching from a library or
Mhm.
something, you wouldn't get the recommendation.
No. No.
So what, if you have someone who's coming in and they're new to the system,
Mhm.
do you not recommend that they just use the library side? I mean, that seems like a data layer.
That's a really good question. For those of you who are listening on the webinar, we had somebody just ask about if somebody's new to our system, do we recommend that they use Overdrive and search through our online catalog or through the Overdrive website? And I guess it's really a matter of preference. I think anytime we can highlight our catalog to our customers, I think that probably is the way to go. You won't see what we have on other platforms. So Overdrive is the only e-resource, only downloadable e-resource that's connected to our catalog. So you would only be able to see Overdrive content. But if you're on Overdrive's website, you're only going to see Overdrive's content in the first place. But I think our catalog is great, and I think there's a lot of information there. So I don't know. It's a tricky question. It's a really tricky question.
I think the things that you get at the Overdrive site are the filters. So you can filter by ticket books, and those are not things that you can do in the category.
Right. And you'd have to go to the Overdrive website to ultimately get the item. So you can place it, and I can show you that really quick right now. So if you're in our catalog, what was that? I had all my searches planned out. Okay. So if you're doing a search on our catalog, you can see that we do have it as an ebook. There's a Kindle version, an Adobe PDF, ebook, Overdrive Read. So since we don't have it available, they would have to request now, place a hold on it, and so it would be the exact same process. If there was a title that we did have available, wait, what am I doing? Robert Bride. You can see that it is available from Overdrive, and it does have the Checkout Now option, so you can go ahead and click that out, put in your library card number and your PIN, and then that would move it into your loans. That would move it into your Overdrive website My Loan section. And so from here, they would be able to choose which format they wanted. So they could just do it from the catalog. They will still have to go to Overdrive. but I think it's good to have them using our catalog, but letting them also know that, and once they go to Overdrive, they're going to see that they can search right from there too. So, definitely tell them that there's lots of ways to search, and they can do it also from the app too, and check out items from the app too. A couple more things about Overdrive. There's subjects, and you can browse by subjects. You can limit your format, ebook, e-audio, and videos. And they've got categories fiction, nonfiction, and then they break it down to juvenile fiction, juvenile nonfiction, and then to YA fiction and YA nonfiction. And then it'll just take you to items here. And then on the left-hand side, you can do more filtering. If you want to just see, I want to see everything they have about mythology that's fiction. And then you can search by what do they have now. There's also the recommend to the library little tab there. So then they'll show them exactly which ones are not owned, but that you can then recommend. And there also are collections here, and I'll talk about these in just a minute, but some of these are curated by Overdrive. These are not collections that we manage. So if you look at the most popular ebooks, Amazon, Overdrive is collating this. And it's nice, you can sort by popularity, relevance, release date, title, author, the date that it's added to the collection. A lot of customers, I think, like that because they like to see what's new, what we just got. And then we also have kids' rooms and teens' rooms. You can get to those from the collections right here, or you can just link right to them. And they're set up exactly the same as the main collection. The main collection is essentially the adult collection. It doesn't say adult, but that's the main collection. And then there are the children and the teens. And again, we curate these collections here, put them together. And it's exactly the same. And then for the teens, they make the colors a little different. The teens is edgy. And then you can either just go back to the main collection, or you can also here back to the main collection. Something we added when the website updated in November are multi-language pages or reading, so you can choose English, Spanish, or Chinese. So the titles of the books stay in English, but then everything else about the books changes to the other language. And we are adding content, so we're adding Spanish and Chinese content so that people can find books in those languages. And we are planning on adding other languages to the interface as an interface platform, but then also to the collection we're trying to add. We've been adding more German titles and some more French titles. So if you have in your service population a community that you know would benefit from having some specific language, either collection-wise or if it's a sizable enough community that we can consider adding them as an interface, the language interface. So it could be Spanish, Spanish-Chinese, Arabic, or Spanish-Chinese, German, and Arabic. So we do have some flexibility there. So if you do find, or if you think that you have a community that you want to make sure we are supporting, let me know, and we can see how that kind of fits over the whole county, and we can add that. No, no. It'll just show you everything would be in English. It's just in that language. So if you wanted to, I better get out of this. So you can search titles in specific languages in advance. So you can search the languages. And there's a lot of different languages. We don't necessarily have titles in all of these languages, but if somebody wants to see what we have in French. And so then these are books in that language. So the interface doesn't show you what is in that language. It just makes everything that language. If you do an advanced search and you limit it by a particular language, it'll show you the items that we have in that language. Okay, I think that's all I have about Overdrive. Are there any? Sure.
So you got them in Pablo, can you talk a little bit about Overdrive and
Sure. It's not. So publishers have very specific formats that they offer for different titles. So some titles they'll only offer as an EPUB, some titles they'll only offer as an audio. So that really is jargon, essentially. And it's unfortunate because most people don't understand that or need to understand that really. So it's essentially saying that we have this book in those formats. I can't get into it. Don't let me. I'm not going to log into it. So it is confusing, that's for sure. So for the ebooks, there's the PDF, and then there's also the reads. And it depends on what kind of format you're using. It depends on what kind of system you have that can read it. The Overdrive Reads doesn't require any kind of other information. It doesn't require like Adobe or anything like that. So Overdrive Reads is a good one to just be able to push out to people. But a lot of titles, you don't really get a choice. It's usually either some kind of e-version or on Kindle. So the publishers set those parameters. So it's a little tricky to tell customers to always pick one because that one might not always be available. But if you can kind of help them understand that anything, you can either do Kindle or anything else. So if you have a Kindle, do Kindle, and if you don't have a Kindle, do anything else. So they're not different enough, and like I said, they're not always available for each title. So it gets a little tricky because sometimes customers, they get used to one thing, and it's harder for them to kind of move out of that. So for this, I would recommend that you explain to them that they're just different licensing agreements, and they're different. They require.
And then you're right there, and they see the word Overdrive. They see the word Overdrive, so that's the assumption when it's really not downloading the
Right. Yeah, let's click on that. Yeah. Right. Right. Were you going to say something?
You have to be connected to the internet to read, right?
It goes through the browser. Yeah. So like Beth was just saying, that you can't download the Overdrive Reads. So those are just read through your browser. So you have to be connected to the internet, or else you're going to be, your data is going to be destroyed.
Yeah, I found a lot of reasons the difference between download and streaming. So
Yeah.
Streaming means you're on the internet. Download means you get mountains of the beach.
Right.
Okay, I get it.
So that's a very good way to explain that. So streaming, you have to be connected to the internet, to a Wi-Fi or to an internet kind of connection. And then for downloadable, you actually bring it into your device. So you don't need to be connected.
But if they're streaming it, they still have it in their account and they can pick up with it, right?
Yes,
I mean,
right.
I'm saying,
Right.
but if we say, once you put it on your device, then it's on your device, and wherever your device goes, it's fine. Whereas if you're reading it in a browser format, then you have to keep reconnecting in order to pick it back up.
Right.
I mean, I just want to make sure that explanation. So
Right.
anytime you're writing in, and
have on whatever device. they
Right,
have.
right.
Once we are leaving, so.
And if they go into their loans, they can see, and Overdrive actually just modified this. It used to say add to app instead of download, so they just added the word download, which is fantastic. So you can see that you can either download it, and it would be nice if they had Read in Browser Overdrive Reads, if they had that kind of connection for customers. But feedback.
So even if you chose Read in Browser first, you have it for 21 days, you go back 7 days later and then download it.
I think so, because it's checked out to you. Yeah. So you can go back and forth between the two. But once you've downloaded it to your device, that you don't have to download it again. But then you could go here and just, I'm at work, I've got 20 minutes, I want to read it here on my browser. I want to read it on your computer. So you do have a little flexibility with that, which is nice. It's not either or.
What I found though is that the Read in Browser, and when you download like the EPUB, it doesn't, like, if you read and you got all the way to like 50% through, on the EPUB, the Read in Browser doesn't know where you are.
Yeah, right. So it's not connected that closely, where if you start in your browser and you go to your tablet and then you go back, like you were just saying, it's not going to remember where you were. I mean, your download will remember where you are. But if you go farther in your internet browser, you read it there and you go back, it's not going to know. So, and I think that's helpful for us to make sure we explain to customers, because there is an expectation that everything is connected all the time, and everything is connected in many ways, but there are definitely, some things that can be frustrating for customers. The expectation is a little different than reality. Any other Overdrive questions?
As far as at the bottom, I was just curious, because I base a lot of what I read on reviews. Are those reviews left by people in Overdrive, or does it pull review data from some other source?
These are actually for you to use. So you, yeah. Actually, I don't know. I don't think
it's connected to recommendations for you.
Oh, so if I gave this 5
4
stars.
stars, then it will say other things you might like. Like this. I feel like I read that somewhere.
That makes,
4 of them are great.
right.
So is not everybody's,
No, that's just, I think, to show you that, there's a difference. So they're not, it's not automatically giving it 4. It's just saying, it's just kind of showing you that you can click on them and change them. They do have a review tab, do they, for some of these? Am I making that up? I'm getting that. It's actually from the RTLs. The Overdrive Marketplace. The Overdrive Marketplace has reviews, which I guess I just assumed that it had it on the front page too. My fault. That would be helpful, wouldn't it? Okay, so let's get back to the presentation. Okay, so e-audiobooks are digital books that are downloaded and listened to on a computer or a handheld device, again, your tablet or your smartphone. We offer 3 platforms for accessing audiobooks: Hoopla, One Click Digital, which is going to become RB Digital at some point, and Overdrive. And I'm not going to go into details about audiobooks particularly, because it'll be exactly the same on Overdrive for the ebooks. Magazines are digital formats of complete, full-color, interactive magazines. And when I first saw Zinio, it kind of blew my mind, because in my mind, I was like, it's just going to be some really blurry PDF of a magazine. It is the magazine, and you can flip through it. You can zoom in and zoom out. You can read articles without the pictures, or you can add the pictures. It's really an amazing service that we offer our customers. And I'm not going to go too much into Zinio because we don't have time, but escape. Let me just do one quick thing here. I lost it. We currently only offer one platform for e-magazines. I'm sure you might be aware that we were getting Overdrive periodicals, but in December, Overdrive no longer supported that, so we lost all of that functionality. So, which is a shame because a lot of our customers used the periodicals from Overdrive because they were there already and it was just very easy to get to them. So we now only offer Zinio, and the committees are looking at other platforms, so we do hope to have some kind of other alternative. We're hesitant to sign up for anything new though, because Overdrive has indicated that they might be getting periodicals back up again. So we're kind of in this limbo stage, but we are looking at other options. So from the e-resources page for Zinio, there is a list of magazine titles. There are over 300 titles, and we did actually add more this year. So this is a complete list of all the magazines that you can get from Zinio, and it's a really nice, just our customers can get it. You could print it out and have it at your reference desk or at your circulation desk, and if somebody comes in and asks, do you have this magazine? Oh, I'm sorry, that issue is out, but we do have it on Zinio. And we are trying to, like with the Overdrive, we are trying to add multi-languages. So we have Marie Claire France and South Africa. We have GQ Style Germany. So if you have customers who are not from the United States and who are, they want to stay connected to a periodical from their country, we do have quite a few that we're trying to promote and really want our customers to know that, we are servicing everybody. There is something that we tried this year for the first time. They're bookazines. I said I wasn't going to talk about Zinio, but I'm talking about Zinio. So these bookazines are, if you're at the grocery store and you're at the checkout and you see like Cooking Light holiday issue or Life Gene Wilder tribute, these are those bookazines. And they come out, there's a very strict schedule for when they come out. So if you have any questions, you can see that Cooking Light Italian recipes will be out September 1st. So customers can know that, or if you have a customer that is always interested in cooking books, you can show them this and they can become familiar with it. And in Zinio, you can sign up for notifications. So I love to read Vanity Fair. Like I won't buy it anymore because I don't get to read it as often as I'd like. But I have it set so that when the new edition comes into Zinio, I get an email. I don't always get to read it right away, but it's nice to know that I can get to that newest edition quickly. So I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but I'm done. Are there any questions about e-periodicals?
Are they also, you only have one copy with one person?
No. That's one of the beauties is that it's simultaneous use. So if Alexis is looking at Vanity Fair, I can look at it at the same time. Yeah.
So you have to remove it yourself.
Right. And it's on the app that you would have to download, Zinio for Libraries app. It does show you pretty easily what you have in your collection. So, and it does make it pretty easy to delete things if you don't want to keep, if you've got too much in your app that it's taking too much space and you've already read it, you don't need it anymore. And you can always get it back if I remember that article, I'm going to try to get back to it again. So you can always get it again. So it does help you with that. And I'll just take as a little plug. Everybody got some of the handouts that we had. And the one pager is all of the downloadables. And the downloadables committee just created that. And it gives you just kind of some very basic information about each one of these resources. It'll tell you the limits, how many you can have. It'll tell you if it's simultaneous use or if you have to have or if you have to put holds on it. So that's a really good resource. And we're going to have that on the virtual lexicon. And we're also going to work it into this page too, so that customers can also use it. And we will be sending out a PDF form of it to the library directors where you can modify it and you could add your library logo to that page so that you can have it for your customers, and then it's like a connection back to your library. So it's not just like sending them out. It's like, here, take this, but remember us. So we will be getting that out probably in a month or so.
So is Zinio still, I thought it was like, if you want doing, it's feeding into our digital
Right.
world, so.
Yeah.
Because we have a brochure that we've been waiting until, and every time we're like, well, this is going to change, so we're not going to print them yet.
Yeah.
So this is one of the last things that we were sort of waiting. And we also bought, I mean, it's just sharing, but we bought Artist Works, our friend.
Oh, okay.
Artist Works account, which is under the RB Digital family too. So what we were trying to find out is that people can just do one account online, and they can do everything. And right now, RB Digital's like, you have to like create an account for Artist Works, create an account for something.
Right.
Is it one click?
One click, yeah.
And where does that stand?
So that is, it's coming. It's coming. I've been told it's coming. They've been telling me that for months now. So Recorded Books has taken over One Click Digital and Zinio, and their plan is to merge them all into one platform. So instead of having to have an account for Zinio, an account for One Click, you would have one account for RB Digital, and you'd be able to access all of their content out of that app. It hasn't happened yet. And I don't know if any of you noticed, but about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago, there was a lot of problems with people getting into Zinio. Anybody remembers that beautiful time? And that was part of the transition. So RB Digital is trying to merge everything together, and they did run into some problems, and I think that's why it hasn't happened yet. But they're resolving things kind of as a step. And our rep called me a week or so ago and was like, hey, Hillary, this is actually coming. And he said that they are telling him spring, but he's like, maybe more like summer. And so once I hear that it's actually happening, I sent out some information about that when it was supposed to happen in the fall. And so when I do hear that it is going to actually be happening, and I have some very specific dates, I'll send an email out to Ian Lives, and I'll also post it on the virtual lexicon. And I will also probably put it here somewhere on this site, just so customers, because what customers will have to do is they'll have to upgrade their app. And when they upgrade their app, if they have a Zinio app, when they upgrade it, it'll automatically upgrade into the RB Digital. So I've been told that it should be fairly seamless for our customers. So we'll see if that actually happens. But when I have more information and more dates,
For now, we should still
Yeah, I think so, because if they do start on the Zinio app, they'll be able to flip right over. So it shouldn't be a difficult transition. And once they're comfortable with Zinio, it should move pretty quickly over.
Are these only current issues?
It is. They don't have archives. So it really is the most current issues. I think they do like a couple issues maybe, but it's current. Yeah. But like Alexa says, once you download it, you have it. So it doesn't go away when the new issue comes out, once you've downloaded it. Okay, let me get back to the presentation. How are we doing on time? Okay, so e-videos are digital formats of movies that you can download and view on a computer or a handheld device. We have two platforms for accessing e-videos, Hoopla and Overdrive. So on Overdrive, you can stream videos. There's not a downloading component, so you can stream it. And there is Hoopla. And I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about Hoopla. So Hoopla. I always kind of think of Hoopla as like the fast food of e-resources because it is super fast, super easy, and it doesn't require a lot of effort. So that's how you know, that's what you know. Now you know how I feel about fast food. Okay, so when you sign up for Hoopla, you sign up with your library card, your PIN number, and you do also have to put in an email address and a password. I'm just going to sign in here. Okay, so Hoopla's not going to give you a lot of options, but that's okay because everything is available all the time. So there is nothing, it's simultaneous use. We pay for each item that our customers check out. So if 100 people check out Hidden Figures, then 100 people get Hidden Figures right away, and we pay for 100 people to be looking at that at the same time. So it's very nice because there are no holds, which is amazing to me. When you can search, you can have checked out 10 items a month on Hoopla. And it doesn't mean you have 10 and you return one, you'll get another one, you get 10. So it kind of cuts you off at, well, it does cut you off at 10. And let's see, there are audiobooks, movies, music, comics, ebooks, and television shows that you can get from Hoopla. They have different lending times. Audiobooks are 21 days, movies are 3 days, music is 7 days, comics 21, ebooks 21 days, and television shows are 3 days. So you don't get a lot of time with the videos and the music, but you know, you can download it anytime you want. So you can search by format. And you can also search for titles. And it'll show you everything that kind of fits within that. Unless you limit it by resource, it'll show you everything that kind of is related to that. So here is the audiobook. Now on Overdrive, there's a wait list of, you know, a lot of people, but I could borrow it right here from now. I could just get it right now, which is kind of amazing to me. I know I keep saying that, but it really just kind of blows my mind away. So what you would do is you would just click on borrow, and that's it. And then I click play, and it'll play. So they also have an app, so you can download things to your app so that you can listen to it offline. So you have the same capability of listening to the browser or on your app, but again, the browser you have to be connected, so it's streaming, or you can download it to your device, and then you can just take it with you. And then in My Hoopla, it'll show you what you have currently borrowed. My kids have been using this, so you can see there's some things in there. It'll also show you your favorites. You can mark things as favorites, so if you're almost to your 10, but you really want to get this other book, but you have this other book that you don't want to forget about, you can mark it as your favorites, and it'll keep it in there, and then once your 10 are up for that, once that new month reboots itself, you can go back into your favorites and then pick on the ones that you want to make sure that you get. I mean, they have the soundtrack for La La Land that I could just get right now. I think it's the first to the last, yeah. And then it also shows you your browsing history, which is kind of a nice feature. So that's what my children watch. And the Hamilton mixtape is my daughter's, actually. So settings, you don't have a lot of choices. You can show kids mode only. You can change your email, your password, the library settings. That's pretty much all you got. And you could put it in other libraries and it'll connect to those library accounts, but then you'll need a library card number, so you would want to just do your own. When you go into the app for the first time, you will be asked, as always, to connect it to a library. And it's pretty intuitive. It doesn't take, it wants you to do it, or else it's not going to let you get anything. So they make it very simple for you to get stuff or to find a library that you want. I am actually, are there any questions about Hoopla? Hoopla is great. I mean, I like to think of it also not just as the fast food of e-resources, but as a gateway drug to our library, because it has so much easy content. And it's got things that people really want, and they can get it really quickly. So if you have somebody come in and they're like, I really want to listen to Hidden Figures, do you have it? No, we don't have it, it's out. The Overdrive copy is out. Hoopla has it. So it's a really good resource for us to recommend to our customers, I think, because it does have a lot. We don't manage the content at all for Hoopla. They put up new things on their own, and we don't have any say what's there and what's not there. So it does limit us in some ways. It's not like Overdrive where we are actually creating our own collection. So it is different, definitely different, but it's got a lot of really current new content that our customers would otherwise have to wait a long time to get. And because you can do audiobooks, movies, television shows, music, I mean, it comics, it's got a really great comic section. So, I mean, those are really things that a lot of customers really want. And when they want it now. So Hoopla is a really great resource for that. Oh, oh, where is that? Oh, where did it do? Where else did I lose everybody? Oh, there it is. There it is.
Just wanted to make sure that it didn't get close.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions about Hoopla? I flew through that one for sure. And I'm going to fly through the next one too, just to let you know. Okay. So the last resource I want to talk about is music. We offer two platforms to listen to music, and that's Freegal and Hoopla. We've already talked about Hoopla, but I want to spend a little bit of time talking about Freegal, because Freegal is actually pretty amazing too, I think. You sign in with your library card and your PIN number. You don't have to give any other additional information. You don't have to create an account. You don't have to give an email address. You have 5 songs per week that you can download. We don't subscribe to the streaming service, so customers can only download from Freegal. So we have it set that our customers can download 5 things a week. And you can see it shows you right up here how many that you have left. And you can search. The search is very simple. It's not very complicated. You can search either by artist, album, songs, or videos, or you can do a browse A to Z. Maybe. There we go. Which will give you genre and artist. The beauty about Freegal, which I think we can't tell our customers enough, is that once you download that song, it's yours. You can put it in your music library. You can play it from any media player that you have. You can burn it to a CD. So you can literally have 5 songs a week that then become yours. They don't stay in Freegal, so once you download them, they won't show up anymore. You can't listen to them from here, like I said, because we don't offer streaming. But you download it and it's yours. And they don't really care what you do with it, which I don't understand how that works, but it's pretty amazing. And they have music videos. Music videos, though, we do have to make sure we remind people are worth 2 downloads instead of just 1. So if a customer says, oh, well, I've got 2 left, I should have more. Did you do a video? Videos, unfortunately, cost 2 downloads. And they also should have, most popular for our library.
Hi, Jean.
Allegheny County loves Adele.
Thank you.
And Michael Jackson. And then you can also search by the top 10 for the U.S. And you can just click on it and open it up, and you can see the songs
You have to
that are
sign up
available
for the
for download.
computer.
You can listen to a sample.
Yeah.
Okay. I won't make you do that. And they highly recommend that you sample everything you download, because once you download it, that's it. And even once you mark that you want to download it, once it goes into your collection, download now. I'm not going to do this now, but it counts. And so you can see now my downloads remaining are 4. So you really want to make sure your customers understand that once you click that button, that counts. And there's no going back. And like Hoopla and like the other ones, you can add to wish list. So if I've reached my 5 for the week, I can save it. And you can save whole albums too. It's over here on the left-hand side, my wish list. So I have in my wish list a whole album of Nina Simone, and I could do 5 a week till I get the whole album. If I wanted to, I could. The first time, there is an app, so the first time you open the app, you'll be prompted to enter your location, and it'll either let you, you need to either allow it to find you, or you could put in your zip code, and once it recognizes where you are, it'll give you library options, and then you can pick the one. And anybody in Allegheny County would pick the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh, so make sure your customers know that that's who they would want to pick out. And then you'll be prompted for your library card number and your PIN. And on the app, you can adjust the languages, but on the website, you can as well. It's not as prominent, but down here at the bottom. So we could get this all in German if we wanted to. And again, it doesn't modify the names. It just modifies all of the text around it. Any questions about Freegle? Freegle is pretty amazing. And when I started working here, I started back in September, and the job that I was at, people were like, oh, where are you going? And I was like, I'm going to the library. Work on e-resources. And they're like, oh, what do you guys have for e-resources? And I'm like, okay, people. Okay, people. And I've told several people about Hoopla and Freegle, and they're just like, I can't believe that the public library has all that content. And it's content that they can then have, which is amazing. So, our usage for our e-resources is going up, which is fantastic. But I think we're missing a lot of people still that either don't know about the resources or who are intimidated by them. So I think having us know them and be comfortable with them, I think that's really going to help our customers. I mean, some of them are first adapters and they've already got all this down. Excuse me, but there is the segment of the population that is more hesitant for any kind of technology. And those are the people that we really can help, and we can, show this to them and have them see that there is all of this content and it's free to you as a library user. So it's really important that we promote these resources as much as we can.
There.
Sure. When I switched to in case anyone isn't doing this. So I had a quirky thing where we went to somewhere and I got in the car and I downloaded like 4 songs from this person in the documentary. And then I had gotten a new car, so I put it first paired my phone with my car, blah, blah, blah. But anyhow, it played Freegle and the music on my iPhone at the same time. I could not. I just couldn't. Anyway, I tried to do that, like Freegle through your car. Because I downloaded from Freegle. Right. So I downloaded it to listen to her.
I like her.
But it also kept defaulting to
Audrey, can you pull her tape?
Yeah.
And it was playing the first song on my music library while it was playing the Freegle song. Okay, I just wanted to be more savvy about playing through the car thing. It's wonderful, but it's freaky.
So your car has Freegle?
No. I mean, it's on my
Oh, it's from your phone.
iPhone.
Okay.
It recognizes my iPhone as soon as I get in.
Right, okay.
And so, like, someone calls or whatever, and so, but when I put the USB thing in, it will play from Freegle.
Right.
Then this other song started playing behind the scenes, and it was like my normal music library that went in. But I have to order for the play. But yeah, well, right, they don't just be on the phone and not in the car.
Well, you can.
Okay, thank you. I just wondered.
Yeah, you could use.
Maybe some people have a question.
Right.
So you don't use the USB port and then just.
Yeah. Yeah. Your Bluetooth should pick it up.
It does. It does. That it does. Do all of that. But in order to play music,
So we have a question on chat. When my patron checks out an e-item, who gets credit for the circ? So each library gets their credit. So if Andrew Bain has a customer that checks out Overdrive or checks out something, then they will get that credit for it. And we send out, the EIN sends out monthly reports, which breaks down specifically by the platforms and what each library has in terms of what their numbers are. So you can see very specifically what your library is circulating that month. Not the items necessarily, but the number.
Is it based on your market number or what your home library is?
It's based on your home library.
Can't find it.
So what Overdrive does is they connect.
I couldn't
So
find it.
Overdrive, it's all about the P number. We asked them, because they were using the library card barcode, but then when somebody would change their library card number, we would have to go in and manually reset it for them, and that got tedious, and a lot of customers, I think, just were like, forget this is too complicated. So what we asked Overdrive to do is base their, so when somebody puts in their library card number, Overdrive matches that to a P number, and so they use that P number as the customer's actual identification number, so that number then translates, it has the home library and everything on it.
Here it is. Here it is.
Okay.
I'm going to leave this here. I got to finish that class.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's shutting
They
down.
won't. Well, Overdrive would be fine because they put in their library card number, their new barcode number, but it's still attached to the original P number. So for Overdrive, they should have no problem. For some of these other resources, you can, I guess what they would want to do is they'd want to write down their old number so they can get into their account and then change it once they're in their account.
In some of them, when you make your own account, like Indigo, it's going to use that, whatever it was. So it's only using the barcode for authentication,
Right,
for like databases.
right.
That's true for any library phone. Correct. But and if you change the barcode number, you have to notify ILL. And update with their software.
Right. So there are multiple help and support resources available. Every one of these platforms has usually somewhere on their front page, either up at the top right-hand corner or somewhere down at the bottom, a help or frequently asked questions or a support ticket. So pretty much every one of these, well, every one of these that we've gone over today does have very connected support, but we also have put together, we also have put together a help page. And on this help page are tutorials and installation information for a lot of these resources. So if customers are ever stuck and the libraries aren't open, if they know that there is help available, that does kind of make everyone feel a little more comfortable. And Overdrive help goes through us right now, but all of the other ones, the help goes directly to the platform. And that's actually it, and we are just about out of time. Are there any other questions or comments or concerns? Okay, well, thank you so much, everybody, for coming, and make sure you have signed in so we get you your continuing education hours. And like I said, you will be getting a survey in a couple of days. Please let us know how we did and if this information was helpful, useful. And like Alexa said, we will have these slides and the webinar presentation up on the virtual lexicon. And so you can access that, or if you have somebody at your library that wasn't able to make it or isn't able to make it any of the times that we have this year, the trainings will be the exact same for the next 3. So encourage people who weren't able to make it today to sign up for one of the other ones. And I'll send out reminders as we get closer to those other ones. So the next one is May 9th. So a week or 2 ahead of that, I'll send out a reminder, and Ian Liz, to sign up if you haven't had a chance yet. Thank you so much, everybody.
Everybody online, thank you. And we will be sending out your quiz questions so you can get your credit for your certificates. Oh, those of you here, the certificates will come through the delivery, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, from Aqua.
great. Thank you. And then this stuff.